Welcome back to the Horror Film Prophet, and I am your humble host, and this is a place to journey through the recesses of despair, fear, and death through the horror genre to learn more about what it means to be human. And today I'm kind of reacting to this article that I read a while back called The Science of Scare. And this is the scientific study that tracks heart rates to determine the scariest movies ever made. I thought this was an interesting list that I wanted to share with you all just in case you hadn't seen this article. And I read this article on Bloody Disgusting. It's an interesting article, and basically they had a panel of 50 people that consumed over 120 hours of the best horror films and in 5.1 Dolby, and they tracked their heart rates to determine the spike in rates based on the scares to see which was the scariest movie of all time. And you know, I wanted to start here by looking at the they in the infographics they only list the top 35, but it would be interesting to see what other movies were on that list, and they only show you the heart rate data for the top 20. And then they kind of give you the best of the rest at the bottom. And so let's look at the best of the rest here to kind of just see. I want to share with you guys, and maybe in the comment section below, you can give me, what you guys think is your scariest film of all time. So numbers, 35, 21 through 35, we've got Audition, Get Out, The Shining, Omen, and Wolf Creek. Those are, with the exception of Wolf Creek, maybe I had too high of expectations going into that film. That's an interesting list, pretty good films there. And we've got Dark Skies, The Orphanage. That was a good movie. I really enjoyed The Orphanage, very atmospheric film. Friday the 13th, the original, Annabelle and Poltergeist. Okay, we got The Thing, Alien, The Blair Witch Project, The Witch, and The Grudge. So that's. Some of those are interesting that they rank as high. When you're thinking top 50, there's a lot of films that could be out there. I would like to, like I said, I would like to see their list that they kind of narrowed it down from. But that's the best of the rest. So let's look and see what they said that was their top 20. So 20 through 11. So we've got Scream, It, Hush, The Exorcist, 28 Days Later, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, A Quiet Place, and The Ring. We've got films across a lot of decades there. Some of my favorite films are in this section. A Nightmare on Elm Street is perhaps one of my favorite films of all time. I saw it probably when I was too young to see it. I started watching A Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 6, which could explain a lot. But love that film. And then obviously Halloween, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's interesting that a lot of these films, you have Hush. That movie executes that premise exceptionally well. If y'all haven't seen Hush, y'all need to see Hush. The first 45 minutes of that film depict not being able to hear, just truly a terrifying premise in and of itself. And then A Quiet Place, we've got some sci-fi horror in there, that cross. And then we have some deranged humans, and then we have some supernatural, things going on. So there's a pretty good mix there in that, 20 to 11 range. All right, let's go on up here and see what their 10 through 2. So we've got The Visit, The Descent, The Babadook, The Conjuring, It Follows, Paranormal Activity, Hereditary, The Conjuring, and Insidious. It's a pretty good list there. A lot of it's interesting that the thing that I'm seeing as kind of like a through arrow here on this list is fear of the supernatural. You know, is there something beyond what we see and experience with our five senses? That's not, I don't want to boil it all down to that, because The Descent has a lot going on there with that one. Claustrophobia is real, and that is a real hard film to watch. Very good film. Hereditary is a very tough film to watch. I want to do a video on some of these separate, you know, which is one of the reasons why I'm bringing this list here. Well, this is a good list, I think. You know, and it's interesting, this highest spike over here, you know, It Follows is a good one. Yeah, Insidious, 133. And the number one movie that they said was the scariest, in this group at least, in this particular experiment, was the film Sinister by Scott Derrickson. And I don't think they're wrong. This film, while it may not, you know, we can talk about whether it's the scariest movie of all time, is absolutely terrifying when you break it down and get into the inner workings of that story. And there's a lot to fear in that film, and we are definitely going to be looking at that movie on this channel. Even though it came out in 2012, it is a terrific portrayal of human darkness. If you want to get rid of everything supernatural about that film, the human darkness that you're going to encounter in that film is really dark, you know. Great film, though. Loved it from start to finish. And I'll save some of my stories about that film for that specific video. But I'd like to know what you guys think about the science of scare. Let me know what your guys' reactions are to their list in the comment section below. It's a really interesting article, and I would like to kind of do that to myself, you know, just to know with some of these films on here, you know, to see if I got kind of like the same reaction as their test group subject, you know, because some of my favorite films, you know, and some of the movies that terrified me as a child, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, man, I still hate clowns, you know, and it would be interesting to see what my reactions, you know, what my reactions would be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this article. Head on over to Bloody Disgusting, check it out. It's a cool article, cool infographic, and kind of leave your list, you know, maybe the top 5 movies that scared you the most in the comment section below, and I look forward to reading them.